We've spent a lot of time in this video course talking about ways to get information into our PDFs and to create our PDF files, but sometimes it's necessary to get information out of a PDF. You may be creating some new content based on previous content, or maybe you're working without the original data and you need to make some changes. You need a way to get the information out of the PDF document, and we can do that within Acrobat 11. We're working with the file cfonewsletter.pdf, and if you'll recall, this is a file that was actually created in InDesign as a newsletter. It's a 4-page document, and it includes text layout as well as graphical elements. We can actually export this file into Microsoft Word, which is a fairly common format. We can do that by choosing File, Save as Other, Microsoft Word, and choose Word Document. Notice there's also the Word 97 to 2003 document, which is an older Word format. You might want to choose that for compatibility, but we'll choose Word Document, which is the newer format for our example. When we do, we'll get the opportunity to choose the name and the location of our file, and we'll save it to the desktop. Notice that Acrobat already chooses the Word format DocX for us. We have some settings available, and within these settings, we can retain flowing text or retain the page layout. This is an either-or option, and you may need to experiment to see what works best for your specific document. We can choose to include PDF comments with the export, and we can choose whether to include images in our export or to simply export text only. Last but not least, we can choose to run optical character recognition if it's needed to export the file. We'll go ahead and leave the defaults as they are, and we'll click Save. We'll see the export process running, and the OCR might take a few seconds to complete depending on your system and the size and complexity of the document. Once it's complete, we can minimize Acrobat and view the desktop, and here's our cfonewsletter.docx file. We'll double-click to open this, and we'll see that initially it looks pretty good. There are a few minor nits right off the bat, but it's not looking too bad. This text here at the top has the right font face, but it should be bold, and we can fix that quite easily. Now it looks much more like the original document. Scrolling through the document, we see that the conversion results are actually quite good until we get to the bottom of page 4. Here we see that the graphical lines and the text are not in good alignment on this membership form, so we'll have some slight touch-up to do here. Overall, though, we have a very workable Microsoft Word document exported from a PDF that originated in InDesign. Not bad. We also have the capability within Acrobat 11 to export spreadsheets. So we'll close this document, go back to Acrobat, and we'll close this file. We'll open up the file sales.pdf, which is in the working files, also in the Chapter 4 folder. Here we have a spreadsheet that was created in Microsoft Excel and exported into PDF. But this may have been handed to us and we don't have the original Excel file, and now we need to get some of this data back into Excel to do some manipulation. So we have a couple of options. First, we can choose the selection tool, not the hand tool, but the selection tool, and we can drag over this table to highlight the text. Once we have the text selected, we can hover over the text until the cursor changes. Now we can right-click on Windows or Control-click on a Mac and bring up the context menu where we'll choose Export Selection As. In the Export dialog box, we'll change the file type to Excel Workbook, and we'll call it Sales, and we'll save it to the desktop. Let's minimize Acrobat and take a look. Here's our file. We can double-click to open it in Excel. These types of exports may need some adjustments. You may need to reset the font size, you may need to reset the row and column size, but you can see here that the data has been exported into Excel and we can manipulate it further as we might need to. Now in this case, we exported just a snippet from the data in our PDF file, and this worked pretty well. We do have another option. We'll close this and go back to Acrobat. We can export a multi-page PDF that contains data all the way through by choosing File and then Save as Other, Spreadsheet, and then choose Microsoft Excel Workbook. Once again, we have XML Spreadsheet 2003, which is compatible with older formats. We'll choose this, and again, we'll save our file to the desktop, overwriting the previous file. Once the export is complete, we'll go to the desktop and take a look. Here we see the file, and in this case, because the data on the first page of our PDF was very small, that part of the data wasn't very well converted. Acrobat works better with data that has clearly defined rows and columns, such as we saw here, and larger fonts. So your mileage may vary with Excel exports. We'll close this file and go back to Acrobat. And we'll close this PDF and open the file Jurassic.pdf. This is a presentation that originated in Microsoft PowerPoint, and we can do a reasonable job of getting it back to that format. We'll choose File, Save as Other, and choose Microsoft PowerPoint Presentation. And here we'll choose again to save it to the desktop. We'll click Save, and the conversion takes place. Now we can minimize Acrobat and go to the desktop, and we'll open Jurassic.pptx. Notice that we have some immediate problems with the formatting of this conversion. The theme for this presentation came from PowerPoint originally, but it hasn't survived the round trip very well through PDF and back. We can correct that in PowerPoint by reassigning the theme here in the Design tab. We'll just click on this to change the theme back. And now we've got one more correction to do here in the Home tab. We'll click on Layout, and we'll assign the title slide format to this slide. A few more tweaks to the text. And now we have a presentation that's nearly identical to the original PowerPoint presentation. So as you can see, the export to Microsoft Word, Excel, and PowerPoint are not perfect, but they can save you a lot of time and get you 90% of the way to where you need to be able to reuse and repurpose your content from one PDF file to the next.